Hello and welcome to the channel. I am going to be testing out 11.4.2 full self-drive beta and how it has improved or regressed from 11.4.1. So I'm going to take the same route that I have been taking and have logged some of the issues that I've had along the way so that I can do a direct comparison. Conditions for driving are about exactly the same as they were when I tested 11.4.1. So this should be a pretty fair comparison. It is the holiday weekend, so there might be a little bit more traffic, but generally the roads that I'm on, it was the behavior on the roads as opposed to how it dealt with certain traffic. So we'll engage right here, and this is where it typically blows through the stop sign. It did an update, and it comes, whew, really hard stop there. The first time I went through there, it blew right through it, and the second time it stopped. This is the first time on 11.4.2, and it stopped, but it was a little bit more abrupt than 11.4.1 was. So no lane markings on the road. It kind of looks like it thinks there is some there for a bit, but for the most part, it's doing a pretty darn good job at staying to the right, even without traffic. I know that in the past it has sort of driven in the center until another car came and then it stopped. So coming to a stop here, again, a little bit abrupt, and this is sort of the same situation where it's got to creep up to see because there's a bunch of bushes and overgrowth to the right, but it went right through there. So don't really see much of a change there other than it's braking a little bit harder than it has in the past. And for this stop sign as well too, very, very aggressive braking I've noticed these last few stop signs. So next up is this left turn, which the last time it sort of jerked itself to the right and then stuttered a bit before it made the turn. So we'll take a look and see if it's more confident this time. Still a little jerky there. So thus far, I've noticed that on the straightaways, it's pretty confident. I haven't had any problems with this road before, and it continues to perform very well. Stop sign behavior seems to be a little bit more abrupt than I would like. Seems like in 11.4.1 it slowed down. It started to slow down a little sooner. So next stop sign is coming up here. This is the one that has the giant brick building to the right, making visibility pretty difficult. So this is a pretty challenging one. So it's gonna come to a stop. It was very smooth stop. That was much better. And now we're gonna have to creep forward in order to see. We've got some cars coming here. Thinks it can do it, and it did it. So hard for me to tell whether that was as confident as it's been in the past, but it didn't seem to hesitate as much whenever I put it side by side with 11.4.1. Might be able to see a little bit better if it was any more confident with that turn, as there was traffic coming in almost the exact same pattern. Pretty sharp bend here, handles it very well. Now, this is going to be a test of the merging onto the highway, it has in the past stayed in this lane the entire time until it was forced to merge, even with no traffic coming, and we're in the exact same scenario. Hoping for a blinker here to move me over, and nope, same exact behavior. It's going to ride this all the way to the very end and merge. So that still is an issue in that spot. I can see it doing that if there's just a bunch of traffic and it's waiting for its time to get in and giving itself a little bit more space, but there were no cars around me in any capacity. Next up is the exit coming up to the right. Every time so far it has overshot it and gone over the line until it corrected itself a few feet up. So it just seems to really blast off of this exit and then try to correct itself. And let's see if it does the same thing. Yep, does the same exact thing. And there was some debris on the road that I didn't want to run into. So far it's performing just about the same to me, with the exception of those few stop signs. Don't notice a huge difference there. Coming up to this intersection, fairly busy intersection. It's gonna creep up. Very jerky there. Very unsure of itself there. So I will change the waypoint. Next up is this turn at the red light. It has traditionally wanted to put me into the dirt here before it makes the turn. So we'll see if it still, yep, still does the same exact thing. So the behavior there is, I didn't let it go off the road as much as it did last time, but the behavior there is that it goes to make that right hand turn and it turns itself into the dirt before it completes the turn. So I'm going to get back on the highway here. With this particular merge point, it doesn't seem to have a problem. It was able to merge in before the actual merge point. Got a car behind me, it's speeding up. And then it would usually put its blinkers on somewhere around here, which it does, and moves over before the end of the merge point. So very good there. So far, I can say that really the only difference that I can see is the stop sign behavior. It tends to go a little bit closer to the sign before starting to slow down, so it comes to a more aggressive stop than it has in the version prior. The stop sign by the brick building seemed to be the only one that it slowed down what I would consider normally for, and all the rest have been, very abrupt. So I do have another stop sign coming up here in about a half a mile, and this is another one that it was a fairly gentle slowdown in the last version. So we'll see if that continues to carry over to this one, or if it will be a little bit harder of a stop like the last few have been. So far, it seems to have the same issues and trouble spots that I did with 4.1. So all of the improvements that were made don't seem to impact any of the issues that I've had. All right, stop sign coming up. Starting to slow down here, pretty smooth. Yes, and that one was very smooth, much better. Creeping up to see around the bush and all of the other obstructions, and made a perfect turn there. That was That was good. Now is the fork in the road, which will be my first test of forks since 11.4.1, where it would want to just completely blow past it or make this turn so late that it would run me into the grass here. So we're still approaching a little fast. See, is it gonna do it? Nope, wants to run me back into the grass again. Although it looked like it corrected itself and made a really good evasive maneuver to not hit the grass, but if there was someone behind me, they would have definitely thought that something was wrong with me, that I was almost going to run into the grass and I wasn't paying attention. So it did it without me having to intervene, but it did it incorrectly. However, it does get points for correcting itself. I just know that I will probably disengage there if it looks like it's going to do that again. Fork in the road, it's kind of jerky here. Have to step on the accelerator, otherwise it would come to a complete stop. And unmarked roads, it's doing pretty well. So first drive impressions are, it is very similar. I think that I was hoping for more of a improvement for this point release than I got, at least for where I normally travel. So I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other scenarios in which it got significantly better. It's just that the roads that I travel really didn't see a huge benefit from this point release. So I will continue to test, and if I happen to run into any improvement without an update, I'll make sure that I take a video of it and put it side by side. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.